It's Wealthy Gamer here, wishing wealth and prosperity on everyone who sees this video today. But today they're trying to go crazy. They're trying to say that Call of Duty HQ, which is what they should be saying, but right here we can see that Charlie Intel actually says Call of Duty was the most played game in the US on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S for the week ending Saturday, October 11th, during the Black Ops 7 beta, which is trying to basically frame it like COD beat Battlefield, but no, it didn't. It did not. You know what I mean? That's the thing. This is Call of Duty's HQ. This is You can't say Call of Duty was the most played game because that's misinformation. Because Call of Duty HQ is not one game. It's not one game. It's multiple games in one thing. The way that they're counting that data, what Call of Duty HQ is one of the most snarky, ratty ways I've seen someone ever count numbers to try to make it look more favorable for them. You know what I mean? Because Call of Duty HQ is Warzone, Black Ops 6, and Black Ops 7's beta. So, bro, what the hell? And before they had more games in there than that. Before they had like two other games in there. So it's like, come on now. You know, like this is basically what they're trying to do here would be the equivalent of if let's say GTA 6 came out, right? But nobody actually liked the game for whatever reason. Let's say like the game didn't meet expectations. It had a lot of bugs, like you know what I mean, and it was like they uh, falsely advertised it, right, and stuff like that. Okay, so let's say that happened and GTA 6 for whatever reason had a low player count, right? Let's say Rockstar Games was like, okay, instead of counting GTA 6's numbers, instead of counting those numbers, because we know those numbers don't look good as we want them to look, let's make a GTA HQ, and we're gonna count all of the GTA's games numbers. You know what I mean? From GTA 5, from GTA 4 on the PS3, you know what I mean, all the way to GTA 6 on the PS5. Yeah, and the PS5 Pro. Yeah, let's count all of those numbers, and now let's see who has the biggest game in the world. You know what I mean? If we count those, like, no, you can't do that. You can't count all those numbers and then try to call it one game and then just say Call of Duty was the most played game. That doesn't work. No, no, no. The Call of Duty HQ games altogether were the most played games when we only, and also that's another thing too, is that it's only counting for the first day of Battlefield. So they had a whole week because Battlefield came out on October 12th. I mean, on October 10th. Sorry. On October 10th, Battlefield came out, and this came out on October 11th, right? So Battlefield only had like, I think they only had like 13 hours, not even 24. I think they only had like that's what Nero Cinema was saying. He's saying that they only had like 13 hours, right? But at the most they had 24 hours, right? And if you think about it logically, it makes sense that yeah, if they were tracking those numbers for the whole week, then yeah, they're gonna have more favorable numbers than Battlefield because they were tracking those numbers the entire week, right? And Foley made a good comparison where he was like, if someone started doing push-ups in the middle of the week, then yeah, of course the person who was doing push-ups at the beginning of the week, if they both do the same amount of push-ups every day, the person who's gonna do is gonna do more push-ups who started at the beginning of the week. You know what I mean? Like it's just common sense. Like, yeah, that makes sense. That just makes sense. So these numbers are very, very deceiving. I don't know why Circana is doing this like this, but this is bad. You know what I mean? This is not good. This is not a good look, like, for the Circana data right now, because why are y'all trying to do Battlefield crazy like that? Come on now. Y'all could have gave Battlefield an extra week so that we could actually see the numbers that everyone cares about. No one cares about the rest of these numbers, okay? No one cares about how good Skate did this year. No one cares about how good WWE 2K25 is gonna do. No one cares about. No, what, bro? Y'all should not have. Y'all should have just did it just so that we could see what really happened with Battlefield right there. But anyways, it doesn't even matter because it's Call of Duty HQ. It's not just Black. It's not. It's not one game. It's not one game. You know, like that would be like if Battlefield had every single game ever since Battlefield 4, and they were like, okay, bet. We're gonna have every single game since Battlefield 4. We're gonna include Battlefield 4, Battlefield Hardline, Battlefield 1. We're gonna include Battlefield 6, and then that's the numbers we're gonna say that we got, and we're gonna have a Battlefield HQ. You know, that would be a really cheesy way to count the numbers, wouldn't it? People probably wouldn't like that if they did that, but the numbers would be way higher if they did that. You know, so I get why Activision does it, because yeah, it's a beneficial thing. Like, you know what I mean? If you can just cheat a system and just make your numbers look way better like that, then it makes sense, especially if your numbers are bad. And you know you have low pre-orders and you know people are not interested in your new game, then yeah, that's a great way to actually lie and basically make it look like your game's really doing well when it's really doing horrible. But we can't tell because we don't have the real numbers, right? And so people will be like, oh, people are playing on Battle.net, but it's just not true. There's not more people playing on Battle.net than on Steam. You know, there's more people in the world on this planet Earth playing on Steam. This is a fact, not an opinion. Okay, there's not 100 million people on this earth playing on Battle.net. Like, let's get real. You know what I mean? I don't have to look up the numbers of people playing on Steam right now, but there's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people playing on Steam right now. Like millions and millions and millions. So yeah, no. There's not more people on Battle.net, bro. Let's get realistic, okay? And we gotta realize that COD is just the reason that they have to do all of this is because they know that they're not really hitting like that anymore. You know, they've lost that good faith with the community, that goodwill that they had. They've lost it. You know, Black Ops 7 doesn't have that hype. Yeah, their pre-order numbers. Also, too, we know because on the PlayStation 5 store, we was able to see like the top pre-ordered games, and Black Ops 7 did not even catch up to Battlefield until Battlefield's like a day before Battlefield's release. It finally passed Battlefield a day before its release, when basically no one could pre-order the game anymore because everyone had already pre-ordered it. Like, no one was going to be pre-ordering the game a day before it comes out. You know what I mean? So yeah, we already know that Battlefield was selling more copies. Like, it was literally selling more copies in pre-orders. It was literally selling more pre-orders, literally selling more copies. The pre-orders is part of the copies, bro. Now, we don't know what the launch is going to be comparative to, but we know from those pre-orders that Battlefield had way higher pre-orders for a very long time. Like, for a long time. Literally until a day before the launch. I remember. I saw the numbers. So until a day before the launch, Battlefield had way more pre-orders on PlayStation 5 than Black Ops 7. Right? And also, these numbers are counting for Call of Duty like on every generation, when Battlefield is only on PS5. So Call of Duty gets to count every single console generation that it's on, and Battlefield only gets to count the PS5. So obviously you would see how those numbers are going to be crunched in an unfair way, right? Like, you should clearly get from everything that I'm saying here is about any of how these other games did. I'll read the other games. No one cares about how Minecraft did. No one cares about how Hogwarts Legacy did. No one cares about how Madden NFL 26 did. No one cares about how Roblox is doing. No one cares about Borderlands 4. No one cares about how Apex Legends is doing. No one cares about how Rocket League is doing. No one cares about how Rainbow Six Siege is doing. Like, come on now. Like, come on now. Why are we doing this? We cared about how 2 games were doing on this entire list, right? Those are the only games that are relevant numbers wise that we were going to care about seeing which one did better. We don't care about the rest of these numbers. You might as well just took every other game off the list and just put Battlefield and Call of Duty, and we could have seen which one did better. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. And gave the full week. You know, but that's the thing. That wasn't going to happen, even though that's obviously what people wanted to see with this, so that's pretty weird for me. I think Circana should just release the next week. Circana? Yeah, release the next week. Like, y'all have this data, so just go 1 week down later and then release the next week of data so that we can actually see the real true numbers of what's really going on here. Because, yeah, this is deceiving.